what I was hoping for with Mathews is that they would have done a 34-inch axle to axle,
VXR, yeah.
axle to axle bow with the switch weight. So that's what we're gonna do today.
Yeah, we're gonna see how this turns out. All right. Drive some bows. All of them.
We're back.
Bros before bows.
All right. So we've been working on this project we've been talking about this project for actually quite some time now. You can see in my hand I've got this is the Mathews Vertix. Last year I shot the Vertix, I shot the Prime CT5, and I shot the RX3. And out of all of those three bows, I was most impressed with the Mathews because of the switch weight technology.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What are some of the benefits you see from the switch weight technology?
Well, with just the change of a mod, you can go from 60 to 65, 70, 75 pounds, up to 75 pounds with the switch weight. You can, while you're doing that, you can also adjust your let off from 80,
so 85% to 80%
mm-hmm.
is pretty much what you have with the switch weight mods.
Yeah.
Now Mathews makes other mods for their halons and things like that. Anyway,
pretty neat thing to be able to do. You don't even have to get different limbs. I mean, most of the guys that are looking at changing their draw weight beyond what they have capability with the limb bolts, you have to get a new set of limbs.
So that's what I was most impressed with the Vertix. So that's why I went. However, after shooting this for a year, there were a couple of things that now Mathews, don't get me wrong, I appreciate your products. I love a lot of things about this bow, but one of the things that I didn't like, and you'll hear this out there, this is one of the buzzwords of this year.
Yeah.
And the reason is because Mathews didn't do what we wanted them to do.
They didn't give us what we think we need right now.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, if you've seen our content, we talk about 34-inch axle-to-axle bows. And Mathews came out with the VXR 28 and the VXR 31.5.
Mm-hmm.
This bow right here is a 30-inch axle-to-axle.
So it's kind of like right in the middle of those.
Exactly. It's in between those. And I was hoping that Mathews would have built something like the Traverse with a switch weight capability, right?
Yeah.
So the things that I've noticed about this bow when I shoot it, and I shot it quite often, shot it pretty much almost every day for an entire year. So the thing that bothered me the most about this was the string angle. And when I get back into my anchor at 29.5-inch draw length, I have to lean into that string just a little bit. I mean, people can get over that, and you'll hear people say that doesn't bother me. Well, it bothers me.
It does bother a lot of people.
So
and there is, I don't care what you say, there's a reason that target shooters shoot the longer axle-to-axle bows. And that is one of the reasons. They don't have to lean in. The string angle is quote-unquote more forgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Another buzzword. Try to define what that means. I don't know. It kind of frustrates me. But forgiving. What's the problem with leaning into the string? What do you see the problem?
So the problem that I see is that, so having a steady anchor point, sure, you'd be able to be super repeatable. But the problem with that is now that I'm adding another angle, I'm adding another movement to my whole shot process that I don't necessarily have with other bows that I've been shooting for now. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. The thing that I would have never known the difference if I hadn't tried a longer axle to axle bow. Exactly. So now that I have, that's one of the things when I come back to this bow right here, just kind of doesn't feel as comfortable as it used to.
Okay. And that in that way, a longer axle to axle, you could say, is more forgiving, where you don't have another variable thrown in to the process.
Exactly.
So
let's put this down.
So we've been thinking about doing something like this, talking about it. We've actually seen somebody do it out there before.
Yeah, so this is not an original idea of ours, and we're not promoting this kind of thing. But first, talk about the Traverse. What did you like about the Traverse? So this is actually Josh's.
This is a Traverse. So 2019 model. Same year as the Vertix. The only, it's longer axle to axle, 34 axle to axle. So more along the lines of what we're finding works better for us. Minus the switch weight. So it's a 70-pound setup, and you have ability to loosen the limb bolts if you want to go lower. But what we're looking for, and we've talked about before, and some of our previous videos, we're looking for that hunting, very specific hunting setup. We're trying to meet specific goals with an arrow that's relatively heavy. Hunting out west, we want to be able to reach out for distance with a flat shooting arrow. We want to be able to do those things, and it's a little challenging with a 70-pound bow.
Yeah. So also, one of the things that I've noticed about the Traverse is that I think this was probably the most underrated bow of 2019. I mean, there's a lot of hype with different companies and different bows, but I think this one kind of flew under the radar.
You're right. I believe it did. And probably because it doesn't have the switch weight technology.
It didn't get the hype that the Vertix did because of the switch weight. So what I was hoping for with Mathews is that they would have done a 34-inch axle to axle bow with the switch weight. So that's what we're gonna do today.
Yeah, we're gonna see how this turns out. Some of the things that I really like about, Mathews in general, they have a really solid platform. Very dead in the hand. That's another buzzword that goes along with Mathews. Very quiet shot, no vibration. And the thing that I've noticed with the Traverse is that the draw cycle, it feels less like you're drawing less poundage than you really are.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we've noticed with the longer axle to axle bows. We've got a couple of 80-pound bows that are 34, 35 inches, and they don't feel like they're 80 pounds to pull.
Yes.
So
those of you that have seen our other videos, we talk about, what poundage, what it's going to take. So Josh, his hunting setup is a 530 grain,
528, I think is what it came out.
528 grain arrow,
roughly 530.
And his goal is to get that arrow moving at 285-ish, somewhere around 285, 290 feet per second.
Yeah, and that's pretty quick for that heavy of an arrow, and a lot of people will say that you don't need that much speed, but once again, going back to where we hunt, the distances we're looking at shooting,
the flatter trajectories,
that's what we're looking for, and we want to maintain kinetic energy
And we don't have gripes with pulling 80-pound bows.
Yeah, we can do it all dang day. All day, and after 14 days in the bush.
All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna chrono this thing and see what we got.
Yeah. So it's set up. I think we're pulling 73.
73 pounds out of the box. Not out of the box, but
it's used. I picked it up on eBay. So, got it all set up and ready to shoot it.
So let's chrono this guy. Okay. Josh's pretty brave. He's got his phone up there. We'll put in the footage.
274.
So 274.
That's pretty good speed.
Pretty decent, respectable.
Should we shoot one more through it?
Oh, we definitely should. Do we ever just shoot one?
No, we never shoot just one. Elevation look good.
Looks good. 276.
276. So right there in the 270 range. It's close. Not close enough. Okay, so we just chronoed. Just to kind of backtrack. 73 pounds, 30-inch draw length.
So that's pretty decent. I mean, 275, is that?
276.
275, 276 range. So what are our predictions with this? What are our plans?
So theoretically, we were just talking about this. Theoretically, we're only going to gain to 75 pounds. So what do you think that's going to push us to? I think we're going to actually get more than a few feet per second. I think we're going to be up in the high 280s, maybe 290.
Okay.
With that 526.8
grain arrow. So, sorry, actual plans. If you look at these cams, if you look at, I don't know if you can see much, there's not a whole lot of difference between the Traverse cam. There is maybe a little bit of difference. So what we're going to do is we're going to just swap out the cams and we're going to see. Now, there's a possibility that the string length might be off, but my prediction is it's going to be
very close.
Very close
enough that we're going to be able to make this work.
All right. So we'll swap out these cams and we'll
see what happens.
See what happens.
Hopefully nobody gets hurt. Okay, so as you can see, we have the switch weight cams on a Mathews Traverse, aka the TRAVERTIX. So it took a little bit of adjusting to get the cables the right length, and to be able to get it timed. Draw lengths is a little bit longer than what we're we may end up getting some mods for a shorter draw length, but let's go see what it chronos. Our draw length is coming in at 31 inches. Yeah.
You want to pull it back and just show.
Okay, so every time I draw a bow back, I consistently get 2 pounds or more less than what Kenneth does when he pulls it back. The same bow. So he's going to draw it back. $77 with the 6.9 pound holding weight. Okay. 126.8. We've got the TRAVERTIX pulling 77 pounds if Kenneth pulls it, and I get 75 pounds out of it. Don't know how that works. $290.
Ooh, jeez.
290. Arrow almost went through the target.
Yeah.
That's some hard hitting shiz right there.
All right, so you saw that we actually were able to meet the goal. In fact, exceeded the goal a little bit with this traverse with the switch weight mods.
The TRAVERTIX.
The TRAVERTIX. That's
so,
right.
Just wanted to point out that I was right. High 280s to 290.
You're right. He was right. And
Sorry.
Full disclosure is that it was a little bit more difficult than we thought it was going to be. I wouldn't suggest trying this on your own.
No, probably not a good idea.
Yeah, it's it's a little bit trickier than you would have thought anyway, or than we thought.
Yeah. So just in the fact that the cables need to be adjusted quite a bit, the cable lengths, it probably would be a really good idea if you have access to custom length cables. That would be the best way to do it. But we were able to manipulate the cables enough to be able to make it work. We shot it quite a few times, didn't have any issues. It seemed to perform and act the way it would or should. So, and you saw the speed output.
Yeah. And that, like we said before, on the Vertix, they're the 29 and a half inch mods. It actually came out to 31 inches, right around 31 inches on our draw board. Like I said, Mathews, don't be mad at us. We spent a lot of money on different products to get this result. So
yeah.
And we won't hold you accountable for anything that happens. Anyway, there's even after getting done with this, we kind of talked back and forth a little bit about some concepts. You can, with your 70-pound bow, with the same mods that you have on it, you can actually twist up your cables to get a little, they call it a heavy 70 pounds, right?
Yeah. That's what you hear, and that's what they mean. The cables are twisted up, you're pulling a little tighter on the limbs.
So you could actually, in theory, twist your cables up to where you were pulling 75 pounds.
And we didn't gain a whole lot of poundage by doing this. But we saw that the efficiency went up quite a bit with the switch weight cams. So
Josh originally chronoed it at 30 inches, right?
30 inches.
So we only had we gained 1 inch on the draw length, which can actually give you quite a bit of speed for times, but we actually gained, what, 277?
276, I think, is what we chronoed.
276 to
290.
290.
289, 290 is what we were getting.
So
it was burying that arrow. I actually lost an arrow
inside the
target and had to rip the fletchings off to get it out. So it was pushing those arrows.
And like Josh said, when we first got this bow, it was pulling 73 pounds, a heavy 70 pounds, right?
Yep.
And we really only got to 75. He was actually pulling it back with the scale at 74 pounds with the switch weight mod.
Yep.
After all the adjustments with the cables and things, but we still got a lot more efficiency out of it.
That's right. So it's pretty amazing. It makes you wonder, why doesn't Mathews...
Why didn't they just build it?
Yeah, why don't we just get a TRAVERTIX?
All right. So we hope you enjoyed this video. We enjoyed putting it together. We had a lot of fun kind of brainstorming on ways that we'd get this to work. If you really want to know how we got the setup to work, comment, ask us a question.
If you think we're idiots for doing this, comment.
Let us know. We were really extra safe on how we did everything.
Yeah,
so
we were cautious about how we did it. Watching things very
there were
closely.
no other Mathews bows injured in the filming of this video. And
right.
like we've said before, we're not sponsored by anybody. We're just massive consumers of archery products and archery stuff in general.
Yeah.
So, thanks for watching.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah.
Mm.
Peace.
All right.